Is it bad that I didn't realize that Spider-Man was coming out today until like 2 days ago? What's up, guys? This is Courtney, one half of the Brothers Deconstruction here, and I'm bringing you my review for Spider-Man Far From Home. Also, obligatory spoiler warning, as usual. Now, to start off with, anybody that knows Mysterio already knew the jig was up with this film, right? It was just a matter of how it was actually going to play out. The performances were really, really good. To be honest, I wasn't excited for this film after Endgame because I was so satisfied with how Endgame kind of solved everything and, just ended the franchise. I was fine with not having another film, but it's a Spider-Man movie, so obviously I want to see a Spider-Man movie, right? The performances were good. Tom Holland is good as always. I think he solidified himself as the best Spider-Man that we've had live action so far. Zendaya was really, really good, and Zendaya is good at being awkward and sarcastic. And she has these weird facial expressions. And so I really enjoyed her performance because I get secondhand embarrassment really, really easily. And watching her just kind of fidget and do like little subtle things kind of added to the performance. Everybody else, Jon Favreau, Marissa Tomei, Samuel L. Jackson, Kobe Smulders, everybody did good. And Jake Gyllenhaal was good too. But the thing was, I knew Mysterio that Quentin Beck would be a con man. I knew this was one giant con. Now, the way that they played it out was the interesting part. Normally in the comics, Mysterio is a special effects artist that just wants, to be looked at as a hero and trying to make himself look good. Here, they take characters from previous films, like the scientist from the first Iron Man film that Obadiah Stane was yelling at Tony Stark made this in a cave with a box of scraps. And they take some other people as well that had, relations to Tony, and they basically put them together as this like group. Quentin Beck created the barf technology that we saw in Civil War. He created the foundation of it. And then apparently he was at that MIT ceremony for Tony. He was like, oh my God, he named my technology barf, this and that. Like, he used it for his little therapeutic thing when it has so many other capabilities and applications. So they were basically a disgruntled group of former Stark Industries associates. So I thought that was kind of an interesting look because, again, he seemed a little deranged. And he said that Tony fired him because he was unhinged and everything like that. So I thought bringing together all these other characters was kind of fun and a neat callback. Because I recognized the scientist from Iron Man 1 immediately as soon as I saw him on screen. I was like, what the hell is he doing here? And it explains it. So they're former Stark associates that basically create the elementals in order to have Mysterio be looked at as this greatest hero of all time. And they came up with the story that he's from another dimension and he's trying to save this world, everything like that, which again pretty much knew that it was going to be some giant ruse, but the execution I think was there and the performances were there, and Tom Holland really held his own when it came to the emotional weight of the film because he was basically this was basically his moment to be like, everybody's looking at me to be the new Iron Man, this and that. And he has a conversation with Happy saying, look, nobody can you're not going to be the next Iron Man. Nobody can live up to Tony. Even he couldn't do that. He was my best friend and he was all over the place. He was a mess. He trusted you. He wouldn't have if he didn't think that you would still be here after he was gone. So I thought that was a really good lesson because to me, I think everybody's been putting Tom Holland Spider-Man in this like Iron Man Jr. kind of Iron Lad role, and it's like, no, Peter, it's just that this Peter really, really looks up to Iron Man. I mean, why not? Mostly all kids nowadays do anyway. So if he's kind of a modern Spider-Man, yeah, he'd look up to Iron Man, especially if he's supposed to be like 16, 17. They explain the whole snap and they call it the blip. Everybody that came back as they were. You know, they were gone for 5 years, but everybody else who didn't get snapped away got 5 years older. You know, one of the characters, his younger brother is older than him now. So that was interesting because it was like, that was one of the questions after Endgame. And I was like, well, people probably just came back and they just kept them in the same grade. Like, they're still the same age. It's just 5 years later. They didn't age. Everybody else did. I think overall the movie is really, really good. And the performances are there. All of, you know, the effects look good. I love the montage of Spider-Man creating the new red and black-ish, red and dark navy blue suit. And Happy plays, starts playing Iron Man music. It kind of reminisces of Tony going over, like, creating his suits, and that was a really good sequence. Now, my favorite sequence personally is the long hallway sequence with Mysterio and Spider-Man. Now, Mysterio was pulling off like some Doctor Strange mind fucks on Spider-Man, right? There was one moment where Spider-Man cornered him in this like hallway where he was kind of hiding out. You know those long bridges that have like glass windows and everything like that? I'm calling it a hallway, but it's really a bridge. He cornered him in that because that's where he was hiding out. And he basically threw up an illusion, and Spider-Man realized, look, I need to trust my spider sense. None of this is real. Only thing that's there are the drones. And he basically runs through attacking the drones, destroying the simulation. That reminded me of one of the Mysterio episodes from Spider-Man and Animated Series where he had to trust his spider sense in order to defeat Mysterio. So I love that sequence, and that's personally my favorite sequence in the film because it threw me back to the animated series. Now, getting all that out the way, this is a great movie, go see it. The credit scenes are absolutely amazing, and it opens up the MCU even wider. The mid-credit scene is after the movie ends with Spider-Man taking MJ, Michelle, but I mean, she's MJ. I don't know where the J came from. I'm still wondering about that. She said, hey, call me MJ, so I wonder if her name is Michelle Johnson or something like that. Whatever. The movie ends with Spider-Man taking her swinging around the city, and she's like flipping the fuck out, right? So after that, it's like, oh my God, I'm never doing that again. He's like, hey, I gotta go. This news report comes on. This last message from Mysterio, and Quentin Beck, I guess, you know, hobbled this together. He had the scientists from Iron Man 1 cut this together. He says that, hey, I can't defeat these things from my dimension. Spider-Man started attacking me for no reason. Blah, 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 this and that. And it kind of cuts audio together of him stopping all of the drones. Now, mind you, we get a shot of J. Jonah Jameson because he's like, you know, the dailybugle.net. He's like this video news reporter, I guess. J.K. Simmons is playing J. Jonah Jameson in the MCU. He doesn't have the flat top. He has like the bald thing going up here, the little you dig. But it was great, and I was like, hey, that's what's up. Like, that's great. Like, if nobody else there's only literally a handful of actors who could pull off J. Jonah Jameson. And if it wasn't going to be J.K. Simmons, I would have gone with like Ice Cube. I like that idea that was floating around for a minute. But they got J.K. Simmons, so all is well, right? He's probably the best casting in comic book movie history, right? The most perfect casting. But he plays that footage before Mysterio dies. And he had it uploaded, and he basically says, Spider-Man, started attacking me for no reason. He basically set Spider-Man up. But then he says Spider-Man's real identity is Peter Parker, and he shows his picture on the little thing. And it ends with Peter being like, what the f-? And then it cuts off. So now there really aren't any secret identities anymore in the MCU. Because remember, there have never really been secret identities. The first Iron Man threw that shit out the window, right? So what does this mean going forward for the MCU? All of Spider-Man's villains now are going to know that he's Peter Parker. And they're going to know, hey, Peter Parker goes to Midtown High. His aunt is May Parker. These are all of his friends, things like that. Now, that was just the mid-credit scene. The post-credit scene, Nick Fury and Maria Hill driving away. Maria Hill shapeshifts. She's a Skrull. Nick Fury's shapeshift is Talos and his wife, right? It's Talos and his wife portraying Nick Fury and Maria Hill. Now, the mission kind of went off the rails, and that explains why Fury didn't know anything about Tallow or about Quentin Beck. He couldn't see, like he didn't know that something was off with him, because surely Nick Fury would have, the real Nick Fury. So he calls him and he was like, hey, maybe you should come back, because, you know, it kind of, we handle it, but, you know, it kind of went off the rails a little bit. And so then, you know, Nick Fury hangs up the phone. It's a video call. He hangs up the phone. He gets up. He's like in front of like this little beach, but it's like a simulation. Not a simulation, but it's like a screen. He gets up and he's on some Skrull base, right? And he's walking around. He gets up, walks around. All right, everybody back to work. Who has my shoes? And it's like, what? You got Skrulls mind you, it's Talos and his wife, right? But still, you got Skrulls impersonating Nick Fury and Maria Hill, even though they know about it. He sent them to go do that. So what does this mean? I just have questions. This just opens the world up now, right? That's Spider-Man Far From Home. I say go see it. I definitely will probably be seeing this movie again. It's just that entertaining. The laughs, a lot of the jokes hit. A lot of the emotional beats you understood and you felt them, especially with the acting. So yeah, this movie is really, really good. And I say check it out. Most people probably will anyway. So yeah, thanks a lot for all the views, guys. Again, as always, whether it's 1, 5, 100, or 1,000, and the comments as well. I'm going to be putting up a super late review for Clue, because Amazon Video has Clue up. And yeah, check out all the other videos, guys. I'll be catching up with you guys later.